All right. Good morning. Some of you it's very early, some of you it's already 11 o'clock. So happy to see all of you on the day three, technically, of the ICW, but for us and for me, this is day four. And this is the um, 10th session that I am hosting, 11 sessions that I've been part of the panel, a part of the display space for people to have a conversation with. The ICW is happening in a way that it is an excellent learning space. So it's fantastic to be a part of the entire ecosystem, meet new coaches, learn new stuff, spaces, competencies. So I've been sitting into an MCC demo yesterday, and it was lovely. There were conversations around how we can use role play and play as a segment in coaching. There were a few that I tried to get in, but the aspects were always full in terms of humor in coaching. There's another lady who's talking about poetry and using that in coaching. So that's the thing that I am also interested in. So it's been an excellent ICW, and for me, whatever we're talking about today, self-care as a coach is a very important aspect of our entire learning space as a coach. So we will be joining in for a smaller version. So we said 1 hour. We may close it a little earlier, maybe around 45 minutes. In case there are questions, we may take it for some more time. And just gonna put a standard slide that we've been using for the entire week. For some of you who've known it, you will do a better introduction of mine than I am doing because you've seen it so many times. Just giving you the segment of who the presenter is. The presenter is me, and as you can see here, my name's Sunil and I'm from India. I am from the south of India, which is basically Bangalore. Bangalore is called the software capital of the world, and true to it, I was a software engineer. I studied engineering, worked as an engineer for about 8 years. In that 8 years, I had 80 years of possible life experiences. And then the whole aspect of learning came to be that I was good with organizing people, mentoring, and somehow it aligned that coaching happened again, accidentally happened. So I was like I'm married to coaching. I was then married to transformation, impact, and things at an organization level. So now I've done started to move into that segment and make it my own at a personal level. Nimma Coach is my official name or the office name or the company's name. I coach in three languages: English for people across the world, Hindi for people across India who know Hindi, who may be from different parts of the country, and also Kannada, which is my mother tongue. And I'm based out of Karnataka, and there are crores of people who talk that language. And therefore, I'm the only coach who confidently says, you know what, I can coach you in this language. And I'm possibly the only one who does that. With a brave space to say, yes, I can coach in these languages. And that's what's led me to call myself Nimma Coach, which essentially translates to your coach. Very proudly, passionately, nicheless. I do not work at leadership spaces in terms of CEOs, CTOs. I would love to consider everybody as a born leader and work with them in terms of coaching. And that is what I is my definition of leadership coaching. So that's a little bit about what has happened. I currently hold a PCC. I have been a PCC for 2.5 years. I have currently about 1,300 hours of coaching and another 1,200 to go en route MCC. And I have mentored about 37 coaches so far in their journey towards ACC, PCC, and renewals and more. So typically, that's about what I do. I come from a background of being a poet as well, and I introduce poetry and coaching as a space where both come together. And here is my LinkedIn QR code in case any of you would love to join and give me a connection request. And the other one on this side of the screen is the space to join the Tribe of Coaches, which is a community we built over the last 2.5 years, which we meet every Monday talk about core competencies, talk about different aspects of coaching, do a life coaching, do a life mentoring, and for those that are listening in live, so we have a session today, which is also a live coaching and a live demo mentoring. So both of them here are today. It's here today, 4 o'clock, which is approximately 5 hours from now, is where we have a session talking about a live demo coaching. And 2 more hours after that, we have a demo around the aspect of demo mentoring. So that's what happens each week, sorry, each month with us over the tribe. And anybody who's aligned with ICF can join in. That's the criteria for us to have people join the tribe of coaches. And yeah, so that's about that. You will also look at this slide at the end of the session, but then that's the introduction. That's about the host, and that's about who we are, what we stand for. Yes. So now back to the conversation about what we do in this session. And I just wanted to check in, what was the point that drew you in to this session when it said self-care as a coach? And rest assured, no presentations to be shared. It's just only presence that is required, and a space where people can, really be honest and share what they love to share. So anybody who would love to share, even on the chat, or even unmute and share, saying what got you into this space when it said self-care as a coach.
Sunil, I wanted to tell you that we've known each other for a while now, and
Hmm.
the events you conduct, and we have collaborated also for quite a few things earlier. So self care was very important because I was also having a few sessions, back to back sessions, be it peer coaching or some clients, and then I felt at the end of the day when I wanted to uh, make some time for exercise, I just couldn't. So I expended all my energy, efforts, everything in coaching, thinking that yes, this is going to be my future career, so I cannot hold back on it. I have to give what the client says, what time the client wants to meet. I have to be there, all those things. And then a few days back, I just reflected, like, what am I doing? Where am I in the space of coaching? I'm not rushing towards any credential, but yes, I do have people who come to me for coaching. Then I realized, yes, that self care is an aspect which I have subconsciously been uh, not giving importance to, thinking that, yes, if I meet client expectations, then I'm a good coach, all those thoughts. Then I came to also realize that self care isn't selfish. So if the client says that, can we meet at 2 p.m.? I'll be like just having lunch and just an hour would have had lunch and I could feel my energy levels dipping. So I would want to rest, right? So that's the realization that came up. And earlier, I used to be like, yeah, after lunch, I used to sit down and meet. And I used to also feel, okay, should I tell the client, can we catch up later? I'm feeling sleepy, I'm feeling tired. What will the client think? All that. So now it's like I came to a place where I know
I know
it's
it's
important
important.
and can't be ignored.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely, Rahul. Lovely. Thank you for sharing so beautifully, so vulnerably. And I was just noting down a few things where you were sharing. So, uh, the aspect of the skill of coaching versus the business of coaching, the pressures are different. So when you are getting to the aspect of your credentials, you just want to make sure you get your perfect recording. You start in a way that you're understanding, the core competencies, what to do for the exam, what kind of questions to ask, what not to ask, how to ask, where to ask. The kind of pressures that are there in the head is a very different kind of pressure while you are getting to a credential. And possibly while you are staying between credentials, or get between the renewal segments, the constant aspects of getting your CCUs, the aspect of staying in, jumping in towards something else, is also a space that keeps prodding at you to say yes. And essentially, if you're already in the business side of it, one is who, when is your next client coming in? Who's your next client? What happens when a client cancels? Uh, so many other equations, so many questions, so many thoughts, so many perspectives and segments come into play that make us look at our own workflow, if I have to put that as a word, as so much holding so much of pressure. If anybody also aligns with what's being said, please feel free to put it in the chat saying, hey, yes, that's me too, right? So that's also part of the self-care segment, saying at times you just need to go to somebody and who's also a coach and just give them a catch-up call and saying, does this also happen to you? Yeah, it's as much a part of that self-care segment that you give somebody a call and say, you know what happened today? And I am tired, I am frustrated, I have something to let go of. And I'd love to have you provide me that safe space to let that go. Because self-care as a coach comes from multiple segments, which Rahul also very beautifully said in terms of our energy, right? And in terms of our emotions, and in terms of the physical segment of tiredness that may have. So one of them yesterday was telling that there was a possible burnout as a coach. So burnout because of things not moving, burnout because clients not coming, burnout because too many clients are coming, burnout because exams we not been able to clear, right? So absolutely, maybe it's also about being active, learning, unlearning, relearning, and the pressure of staying relevant is as much the unsaid segment there. It's the elephant in the room, right? As soon when you finish this, you're like, oh, after ACC, let's do PCC. After PCC, let's do MCC. Possibly look at ACTC. Possibly, yes. The peer pressure as a coach is as much as anything else. So that's also part of your whole self-care game. Yeah. So the pressures are in there, and essentially what Rahul also said, self-care isn't selfish, and this is not just a segment of the Venn diagram of only coaching as a role, right? Your self-care as an individual. Have you had a space to reset? Have you had a space to sit down with yourself? Have you had a space to have self-care as a routine for yourself? So these are questions for us as coaches that would need to be checked in. And before we even think of the alignment towards how it can be worked out, anyone else wants to share a space where you felt you needed self-care as a coach, where you needed, just an embrace from somebody, from virtual or somewhere else. You just needed to let go of something that happened across the session. Some sessions are you crash in that session. What do you do after that? How do you keep your physical energy? Because Rahul mentioned exercise. Exercise is part of the physical body. So the self-care for the physical body, self-care for the mental body, self-care for the emotional body. How does that happen? And what happens? I think one of the sessions we are also doing is what do you do after a tough coaching call? Well, I'll give you an example of a real segment that happened yesterday. Right, I had a live mentoring session across the ICW, and another ACC was on there. So because there was no client who said yes, she said yes for being the coach. We did a live coaching session, and then I opened the mentoring. And the person on the other side, after one or two feedbacks, uh, shared saying, Sunil, do you know the grow model? And for somebody who was sitting in for more than 3 years, 3.5 years into coaching, having mentored about 37 coaches, sat in 300 coaching hours, it felt like somebody is questioning the very identity of my space as a mentor. And that was an amygdala hijack in that segment of place. Because what I was sharing was way beyond what the person was capable of absorbing. And I only understood that after I sat in the evening, after the end of the space, journaled or let all my thoughts go, and not have that affect the rest of the ICW for me, saying, hey, I think I had an imposter syndrome, I had anger, I had, I wish I was an MCC, only then people will listen to me. All those questions come at play and slowly settle into what that space, saying that one session does not define me as a coach, and there were more segments at play there than anything else. So these are all realities of what happens in your coaching space. And many times you would need self-care that can come from support as a friend, from somebody else, support if from a peer, support from all the other resources that you have. And this just be open and gentle with yourself to say, yes, I need self-care. I'll just pause. I see Preeti on the screen. Preeti, anything that like to share? Anything that has resonated?
Yeah, I like that idea what you said, right? That you could actually call somebody. It doesn't have to be really a coaching, but even sharing with peers, can actually help you unwind, relax, right? So that's a great point I'm taking. Especially what to your earlier question, what attracted this? I think the word self-care itself drew me to your session. This is the first time I'm attending, your calls. We've been exchanging mail, but we never got a chance to attend your any of the calls. So I thought, let me take a chance. And the other piece is from a boundary perspective with the corporate life, I have experienced burnout so many times. So you know exactly where you are going on that burnout path. So I'm able to draw that boundary. For example, between two sessions, I always take a break. At
Mm,
least 30 minutes. Like yesterday, I had, in fact, I also, as a newly credentialed coach, I'm also offering pro bono coaching. I had like 3, 4 sessions. I was tempted to take the fourth one, but I said no. I put a boundary there. But what I'm curious, Sunil, today is that apart from boundary, what else can we do to be our so that we can bring in a complete self more from a creative mind? I know you said that once you're in the flow, you don't need a break. Like you were telling me, right? You can take
that's
as
it.
many number of coaching, right? But I'm saying, how can you have that your creative being completely open? So what can you do those things between the sessions apart from the boundaries? What I was curious to know today.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would love to share that. Um, so first things first. So Preeti and I have had conversations, and the conversations I had at times I've had 10 hours, even say 8 hours to 10 hours of coaching in a day, and for me that's an exciting part. So almost say 12 hours of overall segment. If I have to put it, half the day goes into anything that's got to do with coaching. Then about 10 hours have at times gone into that space of saying getting things done. So that for me was what worked for me at that point of time. I was like physically at times tired. I wouldn't put it as exhausted, but at physically I was tired. For me as an individual, I've understood that I love to be in coaching. So it's like a kid in a candy store, a kid in a toy store segment. I don't want to go out of that space. So for me, back-to-back coaching was still absolutely fine. But then there are also spaces where I found myself saying, "Yeah, I think I should need something in the tank." Right? So I don't think I'm a good coach when I'm hungry. These are small things that you will learn about yourself as a program to say, "Yes, how can I come through as a coach that's adding justice, doing justice to myself as an individual, myself in the role of a coach, the person on the other side who's an individual, who's coming in as a client, prospective client, conversational and coaching, anything as such, that the honesty space is completely there. You set boundaries to self-care as a routine. And self-care becomes a automatic segment. It becomes a process. As simple as, oh, what do you do after a session has ended? So usually session to session ending, I go and wash my face and come back. And even during that blitzkrieg peer coaching hours, 45 minutes or 1 hour each swapping. So as soon as one session ended, splash of cold water, come back, sit, the realignment of a place and come back. So for me, it was like mentally a switch off, quick switch off. So that was one way in which I was building it. Second was to have initially all 7 days were open to coaching. Then I said, oh, nothing on Sunday, nothing on Saturday. These are my hours. So I started to define my hours and say, yes, this is it. So it typically still comes in the boundary segment. The other part which I love to do is to share about, say, what worked, what didn't work with a peer. This could be a peer coaching or a peer sharing expression. And then to a large extent, what we are doing today is as much a self-care segment than anything else. The community that gets built or that's gotten built over the last 2.5 years is one of the stronger elements of, hey, you know what, we are here and this is a community. And typically, you're not doing it alone. And that's where even asking for help, being a part of communities, contributing, being there for somebody else, asking for help, sharing what worked, what didn't work, being vulnerable, uh, generally taking smaller breaks in between sessions, asking a mentor for support. I think I've done that quite a lot of times. I've been possibly the other space where I've been the mentor saying, "Hey, this isn't working for me and my client. What do you think I should do?" And then maybe supervision, I have tried one session, but it didn't get to a place that it didn't, I didn't really align with supervision at that point of time. But that's also on the agenda to go for a supervision to ask my coach trainer, who's also my guru and my mentor, saying, sir, this is the problem. What do you think I should do? What is from your experience you can able to share something here? And to recognize some of the times my uncomfortable feeling as a space and in certain sessions, certain people go and say, sit with that space, journal. I think journaling is also a beautiful self-expression thing. Do something that you love, cook, eat, book reading, anything that helps you switch off from the constant thought process of being a coach. Because like I said, there's a physical side, there's a skill set side, there's an emotional side, uh, so there's a mindset side. So can it be a part of your entire mindset? And if you really look beautifully in the core competencies, there's the continuous learning and keeping yourself updated and ready and say, you know, settled as a coach. It's part of the mindset space itself. So self-care itself becomes a mindset equation. And Rahul, I think I had not thought about it, but what works for Rahul as a self-care routine may not work for Preeti as a self-care routine. And what works for Christina definitely may have complete differences to what Alexandria wants. And possibly what Karina is looking at, Vrushali may not be, able to resonate with that self-care routine. So self-care itself becomes a topic for us to take peer coaching. Am I looking at my space as a self-care segment? And that also goes on to a deeper element of saying, do I have self-care as an individual outside of my role as a coach? We're, we have to be very honest that we take on the role of a coach when we're doing coaching. The mindset stays, the mindset becomes part of who you are when you're there. But the aspect is, do I have a self-care segment for me as an individual? So that's the question for us to ask, and that's the question for us to sit with. Any other thoughts, any other spaces that anybody would love to share, add? And maybe very honestly for yourself, you please feel free to use the chat or unmute or even your own personal space. Where do you put your self-rating for self-care as a coach on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being, look, I'm sorted, and 1 being, boy, I think I should sit with this. Because the skill set updation is a separate ballgame. And within all of that, overarchingly, there is that space to be, do you say no, which is sometimes part of setting up boundaries? How comfortable are you doing that? And generally, most importantly, how do you slow down as a coach?
Sunny, the last you said, how do you slow down as a coach? That was something I was pondering on for a very, very long time since I started coaching in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned the back-to-back peer coaching. I was like, yes, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. I think I'm going to have 1 hour from 45 minutes to 1 hour for myself and a 5 to 10 minute break. And then another person will be the coach, however it is, coachy in each
Mm-hmm.
session. Going on with that, initially created a burnout. And I realized at that time, okay, let me just rest. Like you said, wash your face. I used to go make myself some coffee and yeah, freshen up. But then I realized, no, it's not me anymore. If a person says, can we do a back-to-back session? I'll say that, yeah, you can do 1 hour today. I can be the coach or the coachee, or you can be the coach or the coachee, and we'll do the next turn tomorrow. So that, many people didn't agree. Like, oh, no, no, this is as per the group I am. The admin told that we have to do one-on-one continuously, and you can't do 1 hour today, and I can't do 1 hour tomorrow. I have my plans for tomorrow. Many people said like this. I realized that at a point of time, okay, if people are thinking like this or doing like this, move on. Move on to some people who understand. Then people they were there. I was like, after or before mostly, are you okay to do with one hour today and 1 hour tomorrow? They were like, yes, yes, I have other work, I have other things to do. I was so happy that you asked the question. I was thinking that we'll have to follow that format, that kind of structure. So you just tell them honestly without thinking that what they'll feel, how they'll think about me. I'm just beginning my coaching journey, and whatever it is, I can't control their thoughts. I just have to say what I feel
Mm-hmm.
because I felt it. Health is most important, then comes everything else. Having gone through a lot of traumatic incidences in health earlier, I had to make sure that yes, I give them the time, but I also have time for myself to do what I want to do, be it resting or exercising or walking or writing, whatever it is. I have to make time for myself. Now, if I do peer coaching twice a day, 2 hours, 2 hours, that itself takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. So, yeah, that was something which I wanted to bring out and share with you all.
Thanks, thanks for sharing that. Uh, I think while also you're sharing, there's also that element of self-care that is important in terms of our own performance pressures. Right? Performance pressure as a coach is a huge thing. Am I doing it right? What am I doing? How else am I doing? I need to get this right. I need to get the recording. I need to make sure that the person on the other side is having a great experience. So slowdowns also have so many other elements involved in that. Uh, Govind, I see something on the chat, an interesting, vulnerable story about self-care that I didn't look into, which affected me during one of the sessions some time back. Govind, if you are open to sharing, would you?
Of course, so this actually happened some time back. I won't say initial days of my coaching days. Still, what happened was it was a very busy day. I had some sessions in the early morning time also, and then by evening, I was feeling exhausted, but I felt okay. The client has already booked the session, so I'll take it. It was a paid session also, so I took the session. In between the session, I was feeling like so tired. My eyes started to feel kind of heavy. Still, I felt okay. I won't close my eyes. I just went ahead. In between, the client actually paused, and the client was actually a talkative client also. But still, the client paused and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm okay. What happened? Your eyes were closed." And I was literally shocked at that point. Okay, was my eyes closed? Yeah, for a few seconds, your eyes were closed. And I just during that time I said, yeah, I'm feeling very tired. Just give me a minute. I need to pause. What I did was I immediately take my phone, called my mom. She's in the next room only, but still I called her, told her to make me a chai. Then I told, yeah, I'm very tired. Just give me a few minutes. But definitely we'll go ahead. And she was also okay with going ahead. Give me a pause. And she also said, yeah, I'll also make a chai. We had a chai, had some conversation around that topic, and then came back to the coaching. Still, I feel like, okay, it was very unprofessional of me to sleep in between the session.
Yes. I think, see, it's a space that's natural. And for some of us who are starting anything that remotely looks paid, we're like, okay, chalo, let's do this. Right. So there's that space, and I think it's part of the aspect of learning to put ourselves first, put ourselves through self-awareness, saying, hey, I think this is my third session. I don't think I can be able to pull it. And then, maybe even have the chai prior to the session and switch yourself on. So these are things that practical aspects get done. And that's where we just sit to that space to let go. And one of the other things is pre-session preparation, that sometimes you do a grounding exercise before you get into the session. That could be one of those spaces for you to work with, sit down, and then see if that works for you or figures for you. So if anyone has anything to additionally share, we can take a share. Or otherwise, we could do a small uh, guided visualization segment if people are okay with it. And then essentially uh, complete today's conversation. And I hope this has triggered some questions, triggered some sharing, and the ability to have a community to come share and introspect, retrospect is something that would be wonderful. So if people are open to sharing, I will pause for a minute, or else we can do a small 5, 6 minutes guided visualization. Unless you're driving, please close your eyes. Then everybody else is closing their eyes forever. So I would love to ask you to close your eyes and maybe just sit in for guided meditation. Go in. You unmuted.
Yeah. So this was actually during the time I recently tried out Reiki. And during that time when I was studying the Reiki, not just studying Reiki, even after Reiki, I was told by the person who told me to do like a practice, like meditation, all these things during the initial time. That was taking around like 1 hour. And even in the end of the day, there will be a 1 hour practice to, it is a set of meditations, different types of meditations that we do. It said like it's to increase the energy like that. But what I feel is it's the self care that we do with the Reiki practices. Not just
Mm,
Reiki practices, even if you're doing something like that during our coaching sessions, before we start the day
mm, 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 mm. I think when you're frozen,
as a coach, and by the end of the day also to unwind our just
can
sharing
you
an
share
insight
something?
on
Yeah,
how
you're back. Yeah, back.
there was some network issue. I didn't hear
Mm-hmm.
what you said.
Yeah, you are good. So in terms of daily practice,
So what they basically do is like a lot of meditations, visualization meditation, and other practices also, trance like that. Even that, I feel like a grounding exercise for us. Like when I was doing this mindfulness practice also, I used to incorporate all these kind of practices when I'm sharing with my class. So that actually helps those people also. And I think maybe practices like that in our coaching session to start our day as a life coach, having those kind of practices initially and also by the end of the session will help us to regulate ourselves as a coach.
Mm, absolutely. Absolutely. That regulation is a beautiful thing. You become you become a vessel that is open to contain what happens in the session. Mm. So thank you. I would just ask if you are open to this as a space of doing a short guided meditation, create a visualization segment. Feel free to put your feet on the ground and close your eyes. Take deep breaths. One more deep breath. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Another slow, deep breath. Slowly exhale. Now, as you are sitting wherever you are, concentrate on all the noise that you're able to see on the outside. The sound of the horn, the fan, the AC, kids getting ready, people in the kitchen. Slowly tune that way and just hold on to this voice. My voice. My voice right now is slowly taking you to your favorite place to relax, to unwind, and to let go of all labels. You're not a mom there, you're not a dad there, you're not a coach, you're not a software engineer, you're not an alumni of a certain organization. And slowly you're letting go of also the pressures and expectations of all these roles and labels of you and your first name, family name, and there in that quiet space, slowing down, slowing down some more, some more, and you will hear sit in that space. You're there, anchored, smiling, putting on the switch to recharge yourself. Slowly, you're being recharged. And now, my voice will pull you back where you are now, sitting in that very chair. Feel your wiggle your toes, wiggle your hands. At a time where you feel you're ready, slowly rise. Yes, with that, we conclude the conversation around guided meditation stuff. If you're open, feel free to switch on the cameras and share how this guided meditation was, what you learned from the session.
It's pretty much a practice that I do for myself and
Mhm.
for the client. So prior to beginning, I don't ask them, so what do you want to explore today? But I tell them, do you want to take about 30 seconds to a minute to balance and center yourself?
Mm.
Doing that helps them to, yeah, release those tensions or whatever they have, they might be carrying. And it helps me also to be like relaxed.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. That's a good practice to do. Mm. Preeti, about you?
I was just noticing it's so such a short activity, but it was very effective. I actually timed it. I put an alarm because I have a call at 12. So what if this exceeds? So I had put an alarm, but and we were done in less than 8 minutes. So yeah, we should do more often through the day, not just as a coach, but as you said, for the overall self-care as well. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you as well, because what you just gave as an idea is another of these sessions that we can do on a fourth Monday where the guest speaker does not turn up. So we can do a self-care for all of that who are coming at 7. So yes, so thank you, Preeti. Thank you for sharing that. Hmm. Anyone else would love to share? I am open, or else we can conclude for today just in terms of the self-care as a ritual, self-care as an individual, self-care that comes in many forms for many people, and different forms work for different of us. Seek support, ask for help, be a part of communities, contribute, find your falling outside of coaching that anchors you when coaching isn't going great. So many of these things have been shared. Priya would like to add something.
I have a question. My journey in coaching is very new, and I'm just now on the ACC pathway. On
Mm-hmm.
self-care, what's self-grooming is all? Is it a part of self-care in the context of one does life coaching when the target audience is different? One does leadership coaching, the target audience is different. Sales coaching is different. The way we carry ourselves or how we dress, because we are different. I have a feeling that we are different, we jump into different roles. If I'm a mother, I'll be dressed in a certain way. If I'm working in my restaurant, I'm dressing in a different way, etc., etc. I just want to understand whether the way we groom ourselves, does it change the way in which people, the client, perceives the coach as a serious coach or as a casual coach or somebody. I mean, I don't know if the question is coming through right, but is
Yeah,
there something that experiences?
and I think it's a beautiful question. Thanks, Priya, for bringing it up. It's a practical question, more so than anything else. It's a practical question. I have been for the longest time a person who's never had fashion sense, right? And that's always been people telling me, saying, "Hey, you're a leadership coach. You should dress like a leadership coach." My intern wrote to me saying, "Sir, can you send a picture where you look like a leadership coach?" So what she wanted was me in a suit. Right? So the attires that the external world has sort of normalized is something that you figure out whether that works for you, right? So there are people who I know who come only in, say, khadi, and that's part of their identity. So you build your identity as a coach, and that's got nothing to do with your skill set as a coach. The
Okay,
expectation is from people. So whenever you see a doctor, the doctor also has to have a stethoscope. If you don't see a doctor without a stethoscope, it's somehow alien to have that space. But it's, however, a business segment. Got nothing to do with your skill set as a coach, but how perceptions are made outside of the coaching skill set is as much important. For you as a coach, individually, how you dress up, how you get ready, will also be a part of what makes you feel good about yourself. And that could also come under a segment of self-care. But generally, this is a separate segment of work in terms of how do we dress up, how do we groom, what kind of pictures do we put there, what kind of storytelling that we have to do. That's all part of your branding persona segment that comes along. Um, yeah, and it also depends on how the audience is looking at you, and do you actively contribute for realigning the perspective, or are absolutely okay with just going ahead with what is status quo? So what works for you works for you. That's how I put it. I personally say in terms of the skill set, nothing shifts. But in terms of perceptions from the client side or somebody else's side, there's a space. So perceptions are all that. So even in yesterday's conversation, however much I talk about it or don't talk about it, if an MCC says the same thing versus an ACC says the same thing, both of that are equally valid, equally right. Uh, the eyeballs and people who are looking at it would rather levitate towards an MCC and go wow, 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 than the same aspect that's said by an ACC. So that's perception. That's got nothing to do with. So it's an external perception. You have to play with that for running your own ecosystems.
yeah, thanks for the clarification. And I think the two valuable things that I'm taking from what you said now is a perception that one would like to create with the target client, and the branding. Like you see, for example, the Prime Minister of India. He's always wearing the dress of a certain kind. Or suddenly, if Modi ji will come in a suit, then everybody will think what's wrong. So I think
Like,
consistency in branding is something that, especially the target audience is not is a very specific target audience. Then branding in a way helps. Thanks for that clarification.
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I think that that's more of a branding segment than anything else. So all right. So we are well within time for today, and uh, we would close it here. So again, this is reiterating the aspect of where you can find us. Govind has been beautifully putting all the links up here. Just again putting it, this is where you can see me on LinkedIn. This is where you can look at the tribe of coaches. Yeah, wait, I think it's not yet there. So yeah, I think this is where you can see us, connect with us. This is the conversation on LinkedIn. This is the conversation about the driver coaches. So anyone who wants to jump in, join in, please to make that happen. And if you have a friend who would like to recommend to join our community and indulge in that space of having a cushion of, oh, I know people there along the same path as who we are. So give that kind of space. So that's that for today in this session. The next session happens at 4 o'clock India time, which is essentially 4 hours from now. If this is of interest, so we're doing a live coaching session. You can volunteer to be the client as well. And at 7 p.m., which is about 7 hours from now, you will be jumping into a space of live mentoring. So we are open to have a coach and a client, and then you have a mentoring session after that. So that's that for today. That's that for now. Feel free to have a wonderful day ahead, and see you when we see you.
Thank you, Sunil. You too have a wonderful day.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, Christina. Bye,
Bye. Thank
Alex.
you.
Yeah, bye. Bye.